I won a game where black took on f2 with the queen and the bishop lining up to support the queen. It wasn't checkmate, I got away, and I ended up winning, not just by a little bit, but by 2 minor pieces, like a knight and a bishop. So let's see how that happened. So I start a little unorthodox, and I solidify this d5 point. Well, if the bishop went here, actually I don't think the bishop does go there, because something interesting happens. So black plays d5, and white should have control of it. But in this position, black moves. It's a very strange position. I'm doing all these flank attacks, trying to get control of d5 with the bishop and the queen and the pawn c4. But black has a bishop and a queen eyeing this f2 point. Normally, you'd never allow that to happen. In this case, it's not checkmate, because I moved the queen and I moved the pawn, so the king could go to either place, but you normally not allow it to happen. But I just, it's having some fun. I don't think it's objectively better, but look at how it just worked. So first, I knowingly allow black to take, but not immediately. I want black, well, to trade pawns there first, and then trade off the knight that's defending this, because when black takes and I move, this bishop has moved over here, and now, even though the queen is in white's camp, it looks pretty good. Like, it's weird, but there's nothing black can do. There's no threat, there's no tactic. The queen will go over here and check white, but white can block and play goes on. And if you're looking like at either as white, you're defending and you're like, what more does black have? Or you're black and I'm like, what do I have? Is there some tactic waiting for me? The queen is in this camp, there should be something. But look, if you're trying to find something, what can you do? Pretty much everything except this bishop and rook is defended. There's no targets. You know, this knight is blocking this rook, so there's no checks this way. And if you want to attack this rook, the queen would have to go here or here, both of which are not safe. So there's really no weaknesses to penetrate. And if there were, you could say, what are the active pieces? Clearly the queen and the bishop, but there's nothing for them to do. There's no material to win. So the best black can do is check. And then I just block with the bishop. Of course, knight f6 is natural. And if I'm thinking, what can black do? Now, it's a very common trap to say, you develop a knight and you're planning a castle. Maybe that was the point, but what else could be the point? If black was threatening something, what's different between the knight here versus here? It can go here, and I have to worry about my bishop. But I decide not to actually do anything because there's no immediate threat. I still have I have 2 defenders versus 2 attackers. You know, I can't develop my knight because then black will just take with checkmate. But I'm still okay. And this white queen, it's still guarding this b4 square so that the bishop can't go here. So I decide to take a rook and back up. Knight goes there. Either I'm not sure if black missed me taking on b7, or black said, let it happen. I want to pressure this d2 point. And one reason why we can do this is that we think, as black, we've taken on f2. we've done the holy grail. Everybody wants to do a checkmate or a check with the queen on f2 and the bishop on c5, or the mirror image on with white. We've done that. The king is in the center. We want to attack. We want to expose. We don't want to accept that things are kind of even, that there's no forced attack that wins here. So maybe black wanted to just keep up the pressure and say, you know, I lose a rook, but I should have enough pressure. And then in order for white to win the rook, the queen has to be taken in the corner, away from all the action. And when I took the rook, I had to say, is this viable? And I decided, I didn't know for sure, but I was like, I think I'm okay. Okay, so black decides the castle because I was threatening to take the rook and then check the king. And now, also note that if black wanted to pressure this bishop, you know, 3 versus 2, it would have been good, but I could just take the knight and fork the king and the bishop and take it. Okay, so black castles, and I move the queen back. Now I'm guarding this. Otherwise, bishop b4 would have been a real threat. Nice, now I have to just deal with my king out of the center. So we started with the black queen getting a check here, and then black tried to keep its attack, move the knight to e4, and allowed me to get a rook. So now all I have to do is defend against this center attack, and then I'm up a rook. Alright, so black decides, instead of bishop b4, to go to b6, and we'll lock in my queen. I still can't go here, because then black takes the bishop with mate. So I move my king, and I get off of this pin, finally. Black plays c6. Now my queen is a bit blocked. Maybe I can go to e7, but I've got to watch out. But there's no threat right now, so I try to force the queen off of this file, but I think this was a bad move on my part, because after the queen takes, now this rook is on a nice file, but that's not what's important. What's important is that I get my knight out, and I forgot to mention that in this position, instead of bringing this bishop to trap the queen, black could just play knight f2 check. Then I'd still retreat, and then the knight would have a choice of taking the rook or the bishop. So if it takes the rook, note that I can take back, and then I got the rook, black got a rook, both on the corner, and then I'll get a knight back, so I'd be up a knight still. Or black could take the bishop for free. I think that would have been better. So f2 is looming. I move the king out, and again, this rook move wasn't the best, because now black's going to play knight f2, and instead of forking the king and rook, I'm going to fork the rook and bishop, as we'll see. I finally get this knight out, but now black can fork me, and I decide that I want to save the bishop. It's doing a dual purpose. It's saving the bishop, and now this knight is hanging because the bishop cut off the defense. And also, I would just prefer that the knight takes the rook, and then I can get the knight back. So if I've taken a rook, once again, the knight takes my rook, I take the knight back, I'm up a knight. So that's what happened. So now I'm stabilized. Remember, queen f2 check, king d1, would I be okay? But now, I'm definitely stabilizing. There used to be heavy pressure here, but I moved my king up to c2, I defended with my knight. It's looking a lot better. And yeah, this is a mistake, but I'm not sure if there was anything better to fight on with. So the idea is, if I take this knight, now my queen is almost trapped, it has this escape diagonal, but it was a defense against me from taking this knight for free. But now I can just trade queens, and I take a knight. So I was up a rook. Then black took this rook. I got a knight back, up a knight, and then I take another knight. So I'm up 2 minor pieces. Yeah, and then black resigned after this. So yeah, the moral of the story, if something looks bad, like f2 check or f7 check, look at the context. Maybe not. And again, it's not objectively the best play. I still had to deal with weakness with my king on d1, but I felt like I could go for it, and it made for a very fun, just out of the ordinary game.